Okay, so we've already done our loom part that we started, but this is what our circle weaving will look like. When we're done, you don't have to do the entire thing, you can just do a little bit, but you'll see here that I started off with the white, and then I went to orange, yellow, dark blue, light blue, it's up to you. And as you're weaving, you can see on your plate, especially on here on mine, it's hard to see in this part, but there aren't any pieces underneath. This is what people usually do if you find circle rugs and different things that you can buy, or circle blankets, etc. It's basically off of our loom that we created, and then they would loop these off and you would have it. But we're going to leave ours on here. You can look up on your own if you want to ever do hula hoop weaving. You can do the same thing like that on there. So for continuing our loom, I'm going to put this aside and take out my other one. Here is my other one. All of us we've warped our loom. So we've got it nice on each of these. On the back, we don't have any strings that are hanging or going across the back. Everything's nice and neat. What I would like you to do is, we left last time with our yarn coming out one of the ends. So it needs to be coming out forward. And what we did is we made sure that our yarn was a little bit longer than our plate. It could be a lot longer, a little bit, we don't want it too much. So what I would like you to do right now is make sure that you have this yarn piece, put it in your hand. I'm a left-handed person. If you're a righty, put it in your right hand and do that now. Alright, so now that you have it, you can work with it just at the tip or the end. We have our loom part like this, okay, coming out the bottom here. My first one of my string I want to go over. So I'm going to go over it, and I'm going to go under the next one. Okay, so I went under, and then I'm going to go over the next one, and then under. And I will always do this. I will end on my under. And what I would like you to do is pull nice and tight. So as you look and see, we've got it pulled here. And I'm rotating my plate as I go. It just makes it a little easier on myself. And now I'm like, where did I end? So I'm going to zoom in. And this is how you figure it out. You kind of pull on it a little bit. And I realize it's hard to see right here. But it ended on this string, which looks like it's crisscrossed over another. Don't worry. So my next one, I'm going to go over. So I'm going to go over it, under the following, grab that, over this one, under the next, over, under. Okay, now I need to pull again. So I'm going to pull nice and tight. And you can see that in the middle here, it's starting to come together. So I'm going to rotate. I always rotate so my string is facing me. It just makes it easier to keep you on the same path. I ended on under on this one here, so I need to go over on this one. So I'm going to go over, under, grab it, rotate, over, under, rotate, over, under, pull, nice and tight. So now I've got a really nice tight little knot starting in here. And I look again, I go, uh-oh, where am I? Well, I rotated the plate to help me. So I'm going to go over this one. Over, under, over, under, over, under, pull. Rotate your plate. Here I am again. Okay, I ended up under on this one, so I'm going to go over on this guy. Over, under, over, under, over, under, pull. And I rotate. Now I want you to notice when I am weaving, I'm not weaving in this tight area here. I'm weaving up here. It's just easier to see where the strings are. So I ended up under on this one. I kind of did a little tug, and you can see that it's right there. So look, it's underneath this guy right here. So I want to go over this one right here with the blue. So I'm going to go over it, under, over, under, over, under, pull. each time I pull, my string gets longer. Okay? And that's good. So it's facing me again. Remember, it's always facing me. This one I need to go over. So I'm going to go over, under, over, under, over, under, pull. And I'm going to keep going. Over, under. Okay? I'm going to zoom in like this. Over, under. Turning my plate. Over, under, pull. And it's weaving more. Over, under, over, under, over, under, pull. And I know it's really hard to see, but you can see now I've got a couple layers of a nice knot coming. It's looking really good. So I will keep going until my string is about a little longer than my finger here. So I'm going to zoom in like this. It's a little longer than my finger. Right now I still have a little bit of ways to go. So I'm going to zoom out. I have my string facing me. I go over, under, over, under, over, under, and I pull. Now it's a good long length. It's maybe double my finger. I'm going to turn it so it faces me, and I'm going to show you how we make a knot. So I will pause here for everybody to catch up. Now, how do we get a knot? So I get a nice string. I want you to cut your string maybe about from your shoulder to your hand. It could be a little longer if you would like, but not too long because then it's too hard to work with. What you need to do is you put your two string ends together. I want everybody to put their two string ends together now. Okay. When you have your two string ends together, what you will do is you're going to make a loop. So you kind of pull in like this. You make a loop on the bottom and you've got the string on top. Okay? So I'll show you again. I've got my two bits here. And I grab with my left hand this part, and my right hand makes a loop. It's crisscrossed on top. You're going to take these two ends and you're going to tuck them underneath. And they go into the loop and you're going to pull. Okay, so I'll do it again. Ends are together. I pull on this side. I crisscross over, I make the loop on the bottom here. These two strings go behind and through the loop. When they're through the loop, I'm going to pull a nice tight knot. You want to pull it nice and tight, and then the next step is you pull this nice and tight. Now it won't ever come undone. How do you begin again? Well, you've got it long like this. You see you ended underneath on this one. So I'm going to take my white string and I'm going to go over this guy. So over, under, over, under, over, under, pull. When you pull, sometimes when your yarn's nice and long, it gets stuck in here. So don't worry or stress. That's why we pull every so often, and that way we can fix it. So you pull it nice and tight. And you're like, oh no, and my white's not coming through yet. Well, we need to finish off with this black part first. So I face this towards me, always fixing it so it's facing towards me. My string's nice and long. If you want, you can make a little bundle where you fold it up or make a little ball like this, and you can do it that way. Go over, under, over, under, over, under, pull. And I get that knot all the way through. Face it towards you. Here we go. I went under that one, so I gotta go over this guy. Over, under, over, under, over, under, pull. Keep going. Over, under, over, under, over, under, pull. All right. What I forgot, oops, is our little part here when we made our knot. That's my fault. So we don't end up with these little strings going everywhere. I'll zoom in here. Is we can cut this little part here. So I will not all the way to near the knot because then it will cut off. but at that tail end, I'm gonna leave a little bit. So I'm gonna take these little pieces that I just cut here, put this to the side. I've got that knot nice and good there, and that's why it's important that it's tied in nice. So I'm gonna zoom back out. Okay, I face it towards me. I go over this one, under the next, over, under, rotate, over, under, and I pull. There, now my knot's going through nicer. Okay, face it towards me. I pull it so I can see. There is where I left off. It needs to go over this one, over, under, pull. Okay, I rotate it towards me. You can see I left under this one, so I need to go over this one. Over, under, and I pull. Where did I leave off? I lift it. I can see I left off under this one. I need to go over this one. So over, under, and pull. Uh-oh, do you see how I didn't pull that string all the way through? I gotta pull it all the way through. And you keep rotating and working on this until you figure out where you want to stop. Mine here is more in the center, well, not the exact center, it's a little bit off that way. And this one I had a little bit lower. It's however you ended up with it. They're all going to be unique and different, and that's exactly what I would like to see. So, good job, and keep going.